I can't believe how much is packed into just one episode. The Gilded Age Season 3, Episode 7 looks like it's about to explode with betrayal, regret, secret alliances, and a twist no one saw coming. From Marion's emotional breakdown to a hidden mole threatening the Russells from inside their own home, everything is about to fall apart. And then there's Oscar grieving and desperate, possibly about to make a move that changes everything. Add in Gladys and Hector growing closer, and Peggy's past finally catching up with her in the worst possible way. And we've got the recipe for a truly heartbreaking episode. You think you've seen drama before? Wait until you see what's coming next. Asterisk, the trailer for episode 7 wastes no time reminding us where we left off, and the emotional weight hits immediately. We start with Oscar, still crushed after the loss of John Adams. He's seen holding those black and white photographs. But it's not just grief we see on his face. It's guilt, fear, shame. He's mourning not just a lover, but a part of himself he's never been able to share with the world. For a moment, he tries to hide it all. He plays the part of the cold, controlled man society expects him to be, but then the cracks finally break. Open Oscar collapses in Marion's arms, tears falling freely. This is the most vulnerable we've ever seen him, and it raises a huge question. What does Oscar do now? He's lost the one person who truly understood him. And now he's left with his mother, his secrets, and a life that feels more hollow than ever. But here's where it gets more complicated. In the mid-season trailer, we saw Oscar approaching, Bertha practically begging for her help. Why would he go to her of all people? What's he asking for? Theories are flying. Some say it's about money, that John Adams might have left Oscar something in his will. Others believe it's about redemption, that maybe Oscar wants to rebuild his social standing through a new business venture, possibly with George. Or maybe, just maybe, it's about Marion. Could Oscar be trying to fix what he broke between her and Larry? Trying to set things right after seeing what true loss feels like? Whatever the reason, the fact that he's turning to Bertha tells us one thing: Oscar is desperate. And when people are desperate, they take dangerous risks. Meanwhile, the fallout from Marion and Larry's breakup is still burning. In the trailer, Marion's frustration is crystal clear. She tells Peggy the relationship is over. Final, done. And she means it, at least for now. But her actions from episode 6 still haunt the story. Returning the ring without even hearing Larry's explanation, it was rash, emotional, and yes, childish. She didn't give him a chance. And now we see Larry, stunned and angry, thinking his own mother is behind the breakup. He blames Bertha immediately. And George is so bitter over the Gladys Duke arrangement doesn't exactly help calm the situation. But here's the twist. For once, Bertha didn't do it. She's innocent. And the real damage was done by Marion's own assumptions. But is it too late to fix things? Then there's the other quiet war unraveling inside the Russell household. The mole. Yes, the trailer drops hints, and the first look photos only add to the suspicion. Someone inside is leaking information, and it's personal. We're talking about Gladys's undergarments being discussed in social circles, which means this isn't just gossip. It's sabotage. Most fans are pointing fingers at Andre, and it makes sense. He's been lurking, too observant, and a little too quiet in recent episodes. But others think it's too obvious. Could this be a misdirection? A red herring meant to distract us from the real culprit? Someone Bertha trusts. Someone no one would expect. It's the kind of twist Julian Fellows loves to drop, where the betrayer was under our noses all along. And if Bertha finds out who it is, you can bet her revenge will be swift and merciless. At the same time, Gladys and Hector's relationship is suddenly shifting. And not just in subtle ways, there's clear emotional movement happening between them. The first look images show them not once, but several times, in various moments of closeness. The way Gladys looks at him now, it's different. She's interested. She's letting her guard down. And for Hector, who's been a bit of an outsider in this whole social climb, it's a dream come true. There's even a scene where they're alone in her bedroom, his hands somewhere between respectful and intimate. It's enough to make fans wonder, is this just romance, or is this the beginning of another scandal? Because if Gladys is about to throw herself fully into a relationship with Hector, it's going to make her mother's plans for her future a lot more complicated. Especially now that Lady Sarah is out of the picture and Bertha's attention is shifting back to power plays in society. And as all of this brews, there's Peggy and William, the couple we all wanted to root for, now facing their biggest obstacle. Yet, the picnic scene looks sweet, peaceful, but we know it won't last. William's mother, Elizabeth, is on a mission, and she's not alone. She brings in an old friend from Newport, Mrs. Ernestine Brown, who seems kind at first until we learn what she's carrying. Information. Dangerous information. She tells Elizabeth the truth about Peggy's past, about the son she lost, the child taken from her, the trauma she's carried for years. And Elizabeth, being who she is, doesn't hesitate to use it. She tells William, and his reaction. Not empathy, not love. He shuts down. He pulls away. Just like he did before when Peggy tried to open up to him and he refused to listen. It's heartbreaking because she never got the chance to tell her truth on her own terms. Now, that truth is being used as a weapon against her. And once again, someone else is choosing how her story gets told. As the tension builds across every storyline in the Gilded Age Season 3, Episode 7 seems like it will be the emotional climax we've been waiting for. The fallout from Oscar's grief continues to ripple outward, and one of the most striking moments in the preview is the look on Marion's face when she holds him. This isn't just a friend offering comfort, this is a woman who's realizing just how broken Oscar has become. And underneath that moment is something even deeper. Regret. Marion has been through her own romantic devastation recently, but seeing Oscar in this state forces her to reevaluate everything. In the past, she might have judged him, his secrets, his pride, his choices, but now she sees the pain that comes from hiding your truth in a world that doesn't accept it. There's a quiet transformation happening inside her, and while she's still struggling with her own heartbreak over Larry, this moment with Oscar reminds her that vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Speaking of Larry, he is clearly spiraling. After discovering the ring and the letter, the hurt on his face is unmistakable. But it's the rage that follows that's more dangerous. He lashes out, not just at his mother, but at everyone around him. His father tries to calm things down, but George's patience is wearing thin. He's tired of the drama, tired of the politics, and tired of trying to play peacekeeper between his wife and children. And here's the real twist. George starts to suspect that Bertha might not be to blame this time. When Larry accuses her, there's a flicker of doubt in George's eyes. For once, maybe Bertha didn't pull the strings. And if that's true, Larry has no one left to blame but himself, and maybe Marion. The miscommunication between them was so simple, so avoidable, and yet the consequences are massive, and it leaves us wondering, will Larry fight for her, or will his pride win again? But the most suspenseful storyline right now might be the mystery of the mole inside the Russell home. The trailer gives us just enough to raise suspicion, but not enough to confirm anything. Andre is still the #1 suspect in the eyes of most fans. And the way he hesitates before responding to Bertha, the subtle way he positions himself in conversations, it all adds up to something being off. And then there's the curious detail of how intimate the leaked information is. This isn't general gossip. This is about Gladys's wardrobe. Her personal routines, things only someone very close to her would know. It makes you wonder if it's not just about power or revenge, but jealousy. Could someone in the house be envious of Gladys's position, her wealth, her rising status? And what if that someone doesn't want her to end up with Hector? The more you think about it, the more layers this mystery seems to have. And if this mole is revealed in Episode 7, it could lead to a confrontation that changes everything for the Russell family. Meanwhile, Peggy's storyline is quietly becoming the most tragic of all. That picnic with William is supposed to be a moment of peace, of healing, of hope. But even in the photo, you can see the tension lingering in the background. William looks happy, yes, but Peggy looks guarded as if she knows it won't last. And she's right, because behind the scenes, Elizabeth is preparing to strike. Her conversation with Mrs. Ernestine Brown is chilling in its calmness. There's no sympathy, no hesitation, just cold calculation. When Elizabeth learns about Peggy's past, about the son she lost and the betrayal by her own father, it doesn't move her to compassion. Instead, she sees it as ammunition. And when she shares this with William, it doesn't have the effect Peggy might have hoped for. William doesn't defend her. He doesn't even ask questions. He just withdraws. Again, it's a painful echo of that earlier scene when Peggy tried to open up and he shut her down. And this time, it might be the final blow. Because how can you build a future with someone who won't even let you tell your story? Then there's the chaos building in high society thanks to Ward Mallister's book. The title of Episode 7, Excommunicated, couldn't be more fitting, because that's exactly what's about to happen. Mallister's decision to publish secrets about the elite has caused an uproar. The preview shows Mrs. Astor, Mrs. Fish, and Bertha gathered together in the Van Rain house, something we've never seen before. These women are not allies, they are rivals. And yet, the scandal of the book has forced them into an uneasy alliance. It's a brilliant move by the writers, putting enemies in the same room with a common goal. But there's a problem. While they agree that Mallister has betrayed their circle, each of them is also wondering what secrets of their own might be exposed next. And for Bertha, this book could be more dangerous than anyone realizes. She's built her entire social empire on image, reputation, and control. If Mallister has anything on her, it could all come crashing down. And in the trailer, we see a brief moment of her reading the book, her face tight, her expression unreadable. Is she angry? Scared? Or has she just realized who the real traitor is? As we shift through the first look photos, we start to notice something else. Marion's emotional unraveling is accelerating. She's seen hugging Ada, looking lost, confused, and devastated. And the worst part, it doesn't seem to be just about Larry. There's something deeper happening, an identity crisis. Marion has always been caught between two worlds: the traditional values of her aunts and the more progressive ideals she tries to embrace. But now, after seeing how quickly love can turn to heartbreak and how trust can be so easily broken, she's questioning everything. One of the most telling moments in the trailer is when she cries out in frustration, saying she trusted the wrong man again. It's a heartbreaking admission because it's not just about Larry, it's about her past, her choices, her entire romantic history. And when she looks up at Oscar, possibly after he comes home drunk, it's like she's seeing her own pain reflected in someone else. Their stories are different, but their grief is the same. They are both products of a world that demands perfection, silence, and sacrifice. And in episode 7, those demands might finally become too much to bear. At the center of all this is Bertha, still fighting, still calculating, still climbing. While everyone else is falling apart emotionally, Bertha is moving pieces on a very different chessboard. And her next move might involve Mallister himself. One of the photos shows him paying her a visit, and based on their history, this could go one of two ways. Either she's about to destroy him or she's about to make a deal. Because Bertha knows how to turn a scandal into an opportunity. And if she can spin this chaos into a new advantage, it could not only restore her position in society, but cement her as the most powerful woman in New York. But if she miscalculates, if the mole inside her home gets to the press first, if Gladys' relationship becomes a new scandal, or if her enemies move faster, everything she's built could come crashing down. Episode 7 isn't just the next chapter. It's the moment where all the secrets start to surface, all the regrets start to sting, and every lie starts to collapse under its own weight. As we move deeper into the Gilded Age, Season 3, Episode 7, the cracks in every character's life are beginning to widen. And the slow, elegant unraveling of New York high society is no longer subtle, it's explosive. Bertha Russell, the once force of social ambition, suddenly finds herself at the center of a scandal she didn't create. The release of Ward McCallister's Talal book has created a tidal wave, and even those at the top are scrambling to keep their reputations from drowning. The meeting at the Van Ryn house between Bertha, Mrs. Astor, and Mrs. Fish is historic, not because of what they say, but because of what it implies. These three women, who would normally never lower themselves to sit at the same table unless forced, are now joining forces in secret to control the damage. The old elite and the nouveau rich, side by side, united by fear. But the truth is, none of them trusts each other. Every polite smile masks suspicion. Every nod hides a threat. And the longer they sit in that room, the more it becomes clear. This alliance is temporary. The war is still coming. Bertha, of course, understands this better than anyone. She's played this game longer than most and climbed higher than anyone expected. But now she's vulnerable, not just because of the book, but because of the mole. The idea that someone inside her own household is leaking private information has shaken her to the core. Bertha thrives on control, on knowing exactly what's being said, where it's being said, and who's saying it. And suddenly, someone has taken that control away. What's more terrifying is that the information being leaked is intimate. It's not about money or business or public affairs. It's about Gladys, her daughter's undergarments, her routines, her preferences. This isn't sabotage, it's an attack. Someone wants to humiliate the Russells from the inside, and that kind of betrayal can only come from someone with direct access. The most obvious suspect is still Andre, but there's also growing speculation online that it could be someone even closer, someone Bertha sees as loyal. What if it's a maid who overheard a conversation, a butler holding a grudge, or worse, someone sent in by her rivals to spy? Every clue we've seen so far suggests this mole isn't working alone. And if the mole's identity is revealed in episode 7, the fallout won't just be dramatic tittle, be devastating. Meanwhile, Gladys herself is completely unaware of the storm brewing around her. She's too busy falling for Hector. And honestly, who can blame her? For once, she's not being manipulated by her mother's social climbing. She's not being pushed toward a title or a foreign duke. She's just allowed to feel something real. But there's something haunting about their scenes together. In the photos, we see them walking, talking, and even alone in her bedroom, but something about Hector's body language feels slightly off. Is he nervous or is he hiding something? Fans are divided. Some are completely rooting for Gladys and Hector. They see this as her chance to have a real love story. A happy ending not dictated by society. Others think this is all a setup. That Hector might be using her, bet his charm hides ambition. And with the way Julian Fellows writes, either possibility could be true. But what matters most is how Gladys feels. And for the first time, she's making choices for herself. If her mother finds out how deep this relationship has gone, especially with a mole already damaging their public image, there's no telling how she'll react. Gladys has always been her mother's favorite pawn. But if she steps off the chessboard entirely, Bertha might see that as betrayal to Dot at the same time. Another mother is preparing to destroy her son's happiness in the name of protection. Elizabeth Kirkland's interference in Peggy and William's relationship is more than just cold, it's calculated. And in episode 7, we'll see the final result of her quiet manipulation. Her conversation with Mrs. Ernestine Brown is one of the most chilling things we've seen this season. Not because it's loud or dramatic, but because of how calm it is. Elizabeth doesn't yell. She doesn't argue. She just listens, absorbs, and acts. And when she brings that information to William, she doesn't give him the full story, she gives him a version of it. One that makes Peggy look reckless and secretive. One that makes her past sound like a scandal, not a tragedy. And William, in his weakness, believes it. This is the moment where his love is truly tested, and it fails. He lets the voice of his mother be louder than the voice of his heart. He turns away from Peggy without giving her the space to explain. It's the second time he's done this, and it may be the last. Because while Peggy is heartbroken, she's also strong. She's survived more than he'll ever understand. And if he walks away now, she might not let him back in again. Marion, too, is caught in a storm of her own making. Her decision to send back Larry's ring without a conversation has left her isolated, and the regret is starting to show. We see her crying, shouting, leaning on Adrian, yet none of it brings her peace. She's beginning to realize that her pride might have cost her something real. Larry, for all his flaws, genuinely cared about her, and she never gave him a chance to prove himself. She assumed the worst. She jumped to conclusions. And now, she's the one alone. But here's the twist. Larry might not be done. In the preview, we see him heading to the school where Marion works. He tries to visit her house first, and when he learns she's not there, he follows her. That's not the action of someone who's giving up. That's someone who still wants to fix things, but is it too late? The damage is already deep, and Marion's heart is fragile. She's been burned too many times before, and trusting Larry again might feel impossible. But if he finally tells the truth about the Haymarket, about why he lied, about what he really feels, maybe, just maybe, there's still hope for them. And wouldn't that be the twist no one expected? A reconciliation born not out of drama, but honesty. Oscar, meanwhile, is drifting in the shadows of grief. His scenes in the trailer are some of the most emotionally raw of the season. He's no longer performing, no longer pretending. The loss of John Adams has shattered his carefully built walls, and he's left exposed. But here's what's interesting. He's not just grieving a lover, he's grieving the life he never got to live. The possibility of being honest, of being accepted, of being loved for who he truly is. And now that John is gone, that future feels gone too. In one shot, we see Oscar alone, staring at his reflection. The man he sees is a stranger to himself. He's tried so hard to fit into society, to meet expectations, to live by other people's rules, but at what cost? Episode 7 might be the beginning of a turning point for Oscar, not just in terms of how he processes his grief, but in how he defines himself moving forward. Will he continue to hide, or will he finally start to live for himself? The moment he breaks down in Marion's arms is more than just a scene of sadness, it's a confession, a cry for help. And depending on how Marion responds, it might be the beginning of something very new or the end of everything he's tried to protect. And then there's Ward McAllister. The man who caused this entire storm is now facing the consequences of his actions. The preview shows him with Bertha likely seeking forgiveness or protection. But what's fascinating is how unrepentant he looks. There's no shame in his eyes, just resolve. He knew exactly what he was doing when he published that book. He wanted to shake the foundation of high society. And now that it's happening, he seems oddly at peace. But Bertha isn't. She knows how fast scandal spreads. She knows that once people start whispering, they don't stop. And if McAllister has more secrets hidden away, there's another chapter, another name, another scandal, then she needs to get ahead of it fast. Their conversation in episode 7 could be the most important scene of the entire hour, because it won't just reveal what's in the book, it'll reveal what Bertha is willing to do to protect her empire. Blackmail, bribery, silence, or something else entirely. Either way, it's going to be brutal. Because Bertha Russell doesn't lose, not without a fight.